Dan Illman, Mike Beer kicking off $1 mandatory payout in the Pick Six at Belmont at the Big A on Sunday. It's New York Showcase Day. Race number 5 is the Empire Distaff. We're going 1.125 miles for fillies and mares. As we take a peek at this field, we have 7 going. Good field, Mike, and I think there are some solid horses in here, but Venti Valentine really looked good winning last time out at Finger Lakes, and she's been a solid campaigner her entire career.
Yeah, I think she's the horse to beat in here, Dan, for sure. She's a multiple stakes winner. The distance is no issue for this horse, and it just kind of feels like she's found the right field for this year's Empire Distaff. Her good race makes her really tough, and it kind of comes down, probably favoritism comes down to the 2 horses drawn towards the outside, the 5 and the 7. We'll see how it all plays out as far as trips go for those horses.
Well, she's very versatile, Venti Valentine, from a trip standpoint. As we take a look at the time form US pace projector, she's won from close to the pace. She's won from just off of it. And Timeform US has her in stalking position. And I think that's right because Sunset Louise, Know It All Audrey, these are horses that like to be forwardly placed, especially Sunset Louise, who I think is really going to try to clear off.
Yeah, I do too. I think it's really her best chance to win here, Dan. She's a little bit inconsistent, Sunset Louise is, but when she has her mind on running and gets the right trips, she's capable of running a really fast race that would give her a chance in here.
April Antics has hit the board in her last 8 starts. She's going to be stepping up in class, however, for the first time into a stakes race, but her most recent start was okay, finishing second behind odds-on Buston Bay over a sloppy track. Her Beyer speed figures are a little bit light, but she's admirably consistent. She deserves an opportunity to earn some black type here.
Yeah, we'll see if she can get it. I won't disagree with any of that stuff. It just feels like if several of the horses drawn to her outside show up with their good race, it's just going to be really hard for April Antics to win. She made it close with Ichiban up at Saratoga going this distance, but that was a really slow race.
Know It All Audrey, the number 2, would really appreciate a wet track. Her most recent victory came going gate to wire in the slop at this distance at Aqueduct. But again, that was a race where she was able to control the pace. And with Sunset Louise next door, I'm just not sure that trip is available to her. And I think she's at her best when she works that trip out.
Yeah, I agree with you. And that was also a race, then that 9 furlong win. It was a 4-horse field. She was main track only in an off turf race. It was almost a race that she couldn't possibly lose. That being said, she's a really underrated horse. I mean, you can just go back through her PPs going back for a year or so, and there's nothing but good races in there, and there were a bunch of wins in there. She's a pretty good horse.
Expected pace setter number 3, Sunset Louise, comes out of a match race, the off-turf Noble Damsel, where she was no match for the open stakes horse Gerrymander. Here's my main concern with Sunset Louise, and maybe I'm overthinking it just a little bit. Every single one of her races without Lasix, she's well beaten. She just doesn't bring the same form without Lasix that she does with Lasix, and she races without Lasix here. She is still beyond the lead.
Yeah, that's a real issue for her. She also happens to really like a wet track, and she's probably not going to get that on Sunday either. But again, Dan, I mean, she has good speed. She could easily make the lead in here, and her good race gives her a real chance to win in here. I'm not totally against her. I just find her to be very hard to trust.
Distance shouldn't be an issue for Sweet Mystery, who just missed going 1.125 miles at Saratoga 3 starts back, then was able to get the job done coming out of the chute. Last time out at Belmont at the Big A was a tough first level allowance race. I think she fits at this level. She probably just needs a slight Beyer boost.
She probably does need to run maybe the best race of her life to win here. She does have a couple of figures going back to last year as a 3-year-old that would really give her a chance in here, Dan. And she hasn't quite taken the step forward yet this year, but I still think her overall form's pretty good. She ran well at this distance, 3 starts back. She just missed that day, but she was staying to the end. So I'm not really worried about the 9 furlongs for her. I think she's viable in this race, and I think she's going to be a fair price.
Here's the horse to beat, the 5 Venti Valentine. She competed in the Kentucky Oaks last year, graded stakes placed at 1.125 miles at Aqueduct, and she got a nice tune-up at Finger Lakes at odds-on, and she wins like an odds-on shot should. She got up close to a moderate pace, and when it was time to push the button, she went.
Yeah, just had this field over a barrel pretty much. Wins it very easily, though. The 2 turns, the 9 furlongs, it's no issue for her. She can get the right trip in this race. She's got all the top form versus stakes horses in this field. And to me, she's just way the horse to beat.
Tough Street's been very consistent throughout her career for Chad Brown. She's hit the board in 12 of 14 lifetime starts. What happened last time out as the favorite? Was it simply a situation she lost ground from the start and really could never get comfortable position?
I mean, she didn't get me. I don't think you would say she got a perfect trip in there. She also didn't run well. It was a pretty good field too, though. The horse that won it was right on the lead in there, and that horse is capable of doing some good things. So I don't know, man. I wouldn't be too hard on her for that one. I still think you have to concern yourself with distance with this horse. She kind of seems like she's at her best up to a mile, and then anything beyond that is a real struggle for her. But she's another one. She's got a bunch of races on her page that would make her really tough in here.
Ichiban, the number 7, is very comfortable at this distance. She's won her last 2 starts at a mile and an eighth. Both of them came at Saratoga, including this race, the Fleet Indian of the 3-year-old fillies. Now, as you can see, it's a short field. Ichiban was able to press the odds-on favorite from the outside, made the lead at the 5/16 pole, and just went on her way. She won this race very, very easily.
She did. This is a good performance, and it's 2 in a row for her over this 9 furlong distance, which is a good sign for her again. So she's still very lightly raced. She obviously got really good at Saratoga for Linda Rice, winning 3 races up there. Will she bring that form downstate is one of the questions she has to answer here. And then we'll just see if she can take a step forward. She's just got to run a faster race.
Let's take a look at our top selections for the Empire Distaff. I do think Ichiban has it in her to run a faster race, considering she is relatively lightly raced. And I think she's the kind of horse that can work out a decent trip from close to the pace. But I like where you're going, Mike. You're looking for a little bit of a price. And the number 4, Sweet Mystery, I think is coming into this race in sneaky form after facing some tough open foes.
I feel the same way about her, Dan. And again, I'm just not that worried about the distance with her. I think she's going to get it. We'll see. She's going to need to run her best race here. The 5, I thought, was the horse to beat. I'm not way against her. I'll take a little shot with the 4.
4572 for Mike, 7546 for me. It's the Empire Distaff kicking off a $1 mandatory payout in the pick 6 on Sunday. Good luck.